A young man was on spring break with his friends, a one-week vacation from his university. This was the young man and his friends' first time to travel to another country. They spent most of their time on the beach. It was fun and relaxing, but the young man wanted to see more of the country before he went home. On his last day of vacation, the young man decided to go for a walk. His friends wanted to enjoy the beach one more time, so he went alone. He didn't mind. The walk would give him time to think. His graduation was in 2 months, and he had to decide what to do next. The young man enjoyed his walk around the town. First, he stopped to watch some street performers. Then he walked through a market. After that he passed by a cemetery. He stopped to look through the gates. A small group of people dressed in black were standing around a gravestone. The young man lowered his eyes and quickly moved on. After walking for several hours, he started to feel tired. It was very hot that day. He saw a small coffee shop on a corner. It was the perfect place to stop and rest, so he went inside and ordered an iced coffee. Then he sent a text message to his parents. He knew they worried about him. He told them he was fine, and he promised to call them when he got back to the university. Soon a young woman entered the coffee shop. She was well dressed and very pretty. She looked around the room and sat down next to the man. He was surprised because there were a lot of empty seats. She sent a few texts but didn't order anything. When she looked his way, he smiled and said hello. They started to chat. He told her about his friends, his family, and university life. She asked questions about his hobbies and favorite foods. Do you play soccer or swim? What's your favorite food? She asked. She smiled and looked into his eyes. But she didn't say much about herself. She seemed to only want to talk about him. After 30 minutes, he said he had to go. His friends might be worried. She suddenly asked, "Do you want to go to a party?" "A party?" he asked. He was surprised by the offer. He was a stranger, after all. He asked about the party. "What kind of party is it?" "Oh, it's my little brother's birthday today," she said. "He's going to be 12 years old. We're having a little party for him at my parents' house. It's not far from here. We can easily walk. We can just stop by for a few minutes. Then maybe later we can go for a walk or something." The young man agreed, and they left the coffee shop. They walked to a small house not far from the coffee shop. She opened the door and let the young man in. The curtains were closed, so the room was dark. She turned on the light. The room was not very nice. The furniture was old, and the floor was a little dirty. The house was strangely quiet. "Is this your parents' house?" he asked. "Where is the party?" "Oh, we're just a little early," she said. "Everyone will be here soon. Please make yourself comfortable on the couch." He sat down on the stained sofa. The young woman went into the kitchen. She brought out a glass of cold water. "Here's some water," she said, offering him the glass. "I'm sure you're thirsty." The young man took the water and drank it. It was cool and refreshing. He suddenly felt very relaxed. It was the last thing he remembered. The next morning, the man woke up from a deep, heavy sleep. Some bright lights above him hurt his eyes. He was in a different room. Nothing looked familiar. He thought about the events from the night before. He was confused and felt sick. And he was very, very cold. What happened, he thought. Where am I? Did I have a bad dream? He looked around the room. It was a bathroom, and he was lying in the bathtub. The bathtub was full of ice. Then he noticed a note in his hand. It said, "If you don't want to die, call this number for help." There was a phone number at the end of the note. He felt very weak. It was not easy to move, but he was able to pull himself up. He saw drops of blood on the floor. He knew he was in terrible trouble. His cell phone was on a chair next to the bathtub. He picked it up and called the number on the note. A kind woman answered. He explained that he was in a bathtub full of ice. The woman on the other line said, "Sir, please do exactly what I say. Don't stand up, reach around and feel your lower back." The young man held the phone in one hand. Then he felt his lower back with his other hand. It felt like a cut. He could feel several stitches across it. "What happened to me?" he cried. The woman on the line told him to try and stay calm. "Someone drugged you last night," she said. "They took you somewhere. And then they took one of your kidneys. This is not the first time this has happened. They're going to sell the kidney on the black market." He continued to feel the cut on his lower back. He was afraid he was going to faint. "Do you know where you are?" asked the woman. "Not really," said the man. "I think I'm in someone's house, but I don't know the address." The woman told the man to stay on the line. "We'll try to trace the call," she said. "Then we'll send help." The man held the phone tightly. A few minutes later, he heard footsteps outside. "That was very fast," thought the man. "Here," he shouted. "I'm in here."